Well, hello, y'all. This is Frenchie. I'm with my man, Mr. Padawan, and my man, Don. I hope you guys are doing good today. Look, we are geeking out. We can geek out about a lot of things. So this is why we're creating the show. Today, we're doing something super nerdy, super geeky, and that is video game consoles. The purpose of the show is to really just have beautiful, nostalgic memories back and relive a bit our youth and the video games we love. Right? I chose I chose Game Boy, and for me, Game Boy represents my childhood. We're talking about Pokemon Red, Pokemon Blue, Aladdin, Kirby Dream Land, Dragon Ball, Tetris. Those games for me, when things were boring or I didn't have friends, were my refuge. And I didn't care about the low graphics. If you look like right now with the Kirby, the graphics are still freaking fun. That makes me want to pick up a Game Boy and play that right now. You know, it's so simple but so worth it compared to other consoles that were handheld, have better graphics, but you couldn't afford them, and the games weren't that good. So you got lower graphics and something even more entertaining because it's all about the gameplay, and it really brings me back. Now, by the way, for all those who are going to watch this show today, Jason is our wiki guy. We're going to be asking some questions of Jason. So I do have a question on the Game Boy because even I don't know, and I'm sure people would love to know. What was the lifespan of the Game Boy?
It actually was from 1989 to 2003. So it had a really nice, I was going to say, it had a really nice lifespan, and people were continuously going back and playing it. I think the big seller items, like you said, Kirby, Pokemon, even Tetris. Like, I remember my grandmother having a Tetris, that Game Boy with the Tetris on it, and I was playing that thing for hours.
Well, I mean, people still play it today, though. I mean, you can still buy them, technically. I mean, even especially the color ones and stuff. So, yeah. I mean, they haven't completely ever really gone away. They just probably stopped.
I think more of the lifespan is the time that they spent.
I'm just saying, playability-wise, though, they've been around. They're still around. I mean, yeah, people still play them.
Replayability-wise,
and stuff like PSP kind of just went away, and Game Boy is still played by people. So just playability-wise, it's still around. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I agree with what both of you are saying. Like, Jason, you're talking about like the releases stopped in 2002. That's impressive for like going more than 1 decade in one console, let alone a console that wasn't that powerful. It was just convenient back in the day, but they were the only ones who were doing convenient with really good playability on it and pretty decent graphics for very monochrome, right? And the games
for what it is, yeah, it's great graphics for what it is, yeah.
And then, Don, what you're saying is, explain again what you're saying because I forgot.
Well, I was just saying, playability lifespan of it is still today. Like, I still have seen people with them. So,
and now this Game Boy is a collector's item. That's the thing. Like, people are starting to attach nostalgia with good, still quality machines that came from that era. Mine is destroyed. It's not good anymore. But I saw a couple of them for sale. I'm like, yo, it costs more now than before. This is an item of collection. And I find that brilliant. But the Advance, all the other ones that came after, they're less collectibles because they got cheaper, This one, I would take this over an Advance or all the other Game Boy consoles, like in an instant. I wouldn't even think about which console I would take.
I mean, and I think one thing I'm looking on the wiki, I think one of the things that is really impressive to me is for a game that was like a console that was fairly like new to an idea, it sold 118 million units of it.
And imagine
that's like first year or total?
Total.
But still.
Yeah.
And think about it, at the time, how much is this? Is there any information what was the original selling price for this?
It was actually fairly expensive for when it came out in '89. It was $90.
So imagine, again, this is over a 20-year period of time, but still, $90 probably stayed for a while. That's a lot of money.
Now, how much was the original Nintendo? I'm curious about that, just in comparatively.
We'll look about it when we go to your segment, Don.
Sure.
But that's definitely a question I would reserve for you to ask our Mr. Wikipedia himself, Padawan. But yeah, now going directly into the game, because this is a spot I want to talk about. Kirby Dream. Why you? I don't want you. Oh,
I'm your Kirby Dream right here, buddy.
No, you're not Puffy. You don't suck enough.
Nah.
All right. So Kirby, for me, is probably my favorite game. Next to probably Aladdin, and Aladdin's ain't that good. But the bosses, the setting, like now we just passed the ice boss. And that ice boss, when I was younger, was so difficult because I still don't understand the logics behind enemies, you know? So it learned me to adapt. And we look at screen also, like the diversity of the characters are so fun. The cannon, the flying, the shell, we also saw the laser beam. And I don't remember exactly how I felt the first time I discovered that you could evolve the character. But I had so much fun when I started realizing and understanding the engine of the game when no one was there to explain it to me. The different possibilities and different ways to play this game. It was the first time that really gave me a diversity of style of play. That's pretty much Kirby Dream Land. What do you guys think about it? Have any opinion, Padawan Don, on this game?
I mean, Kirby in Super Smash Bros. Is probably my favorite character. The aspect, like, I think of him just being able to absorb anything and almost take their power was such a great idea. And it was such a basic, antagonist or protagonist, I should say. And, I mean, he's so lovable.
Well, can you actually verify this for me? Because I've heard multiple times, Kirby is a she, by the way, apparently. Is it possible to verify the gender of Kirby, Mr. Wikipedia?
Give me a sec, Don. Give your opinion, and I will look this up.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, I grew up playing all these games. I wouldn't say Kirby was one of my favorites that I went back to, but it was always a game I had fun playing. I mean, it's like you said, it's such a great concept. It's so fun. It does have a lot of replayability to it. And the being able to take the other powers and use them, it was definitely innovative at the time. I mean, we saw Mario kind of with power-ups, but that was sort of a unique take on it. It just wasn't one of my go-tos, I would say, when I was growing up. But I definitely played a ton of Kirby for sure.
What's the last Kirby experience you had? Do you remember?
It would have probably been the one on, what was it, 64?
You didn't play Super Smash Bros?
Oh yeah. I've definitely played Super Smash Bros. I probably played with them, in that too. I don't know for sure. I always liked Waluigi. That was my
Kirby is a male.
Male.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay. All right. So that being said, enough about Kirby. We are here not just to talk about Game Boy or Kirby. Our panel here has a different video game consoles and video games to talk about. So let's go ahead. I'll set up at the same time, but I think we can guess what your background, which game. But before the game, we're talking about the console itself. So start talking about the console while I'll pull this up for you.
So I am going to talk about the NES, the original NES. This was my second console. I did have the Atari. I guess it was 9200 or 9400 before that.
BC? Before Christ? When you were born? Yes.
It was.
You're insulting two people right now, not just one.
But yeah, I mean, I remember playing Pong and all that stuff on there. But when we got the first Nintendo, when that came out, man, and Mario Brothers came out, I mean, this was seriously for little kids. This was game changing. I mean, it just was. It was something that had never really been seen before on that level. And yeah, I mean, I just remember as a kid, I mean, I played Mario, the first Mario, I mean, hundreds of times. And we'll get to it when I get to it. But I mean, I played Super Mario 3 with my dad literally on repeat. So that was one of our things. But some of the other games that we played, like Contra, Tecmo Bowl, The original Metal Gear Solid, for people that don't remember, that actually came out on NES, not on the later consoles where it popularized. But there's just so many games. 1942. Man, I'm trying to think of some of the other really big ones. Double Dragon came out on the original NES.
I do have a question for Jason, Wiki Jason here.
Sure.
Could you name off a couple of maybe interesting games that were released on NES that Don hasn't mentioned?
Yeah, because there was a ton, man. I mean, everything. Oh, yeah. RBI Baseball.
I remember the Excitebike was fun. That was on NES, right?
Dude, Excitebike, and there was a game called Kung Fu where you were this little like ninja dude that would go through like these levels side by side, and you just went up the stairs every level, and you would take out all these different other ninjas, and such a fun game. I mean, there's so many games. It was kind of like original Shinobi. Like you got like throwing stars, and that was pretty much it. But the thing about the NES that people have to remember too about that time period in history is this was literally game changing. Like,
so we have
down. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine.
Zelda, the original one.
Oh, the original Zelda, yes.
Duck Hunt, Excite, Metroid.
The original Metroid.
Yes. Tetris on there too. There was Adventures on that one.
Donkey Kong.
Mega Man 2. Dr. Mario.
Dr.
The very first Final Fantasy.
Like, yeah, I mean, it was the console. I mean, there was nothing, and obviously there was no competition, but it was like nothing we'd ever seen before as kids. And just being able to come home, blow on that cartridge, blow out the inside of it, and then put a cartridge in, and you barely put it in, and you had to like flick it down against it, and then close it and turn the power on, and then it would work. Nobody, if you didn't grow up in that era, you have no idea.
You have no idea. And sometimes a console wouldn't work, and you have to smash it down on the ground. Something shook, and then it worked. You know, it was the most unreliable but freaking most resistant thing. You know, it would not work, but would not never work. It would work once out of 3 times over 10 years.
I mean, you had to freaking. I remember taking out the cartridges and just.
Yeah, dude.
And probably we're damaging it while we're doing it. If we really think about it, we're
into it. Yeah, no.
Now, I will talk about another game that me and my dad played. So this is the famous, everybody knows this code. It's the famous Konami code. It's up, up, down, down, left, right, A, B, select, start.
Yeah.
And that code alone got us through Contra because you get unlimited lives and you can just tear through that game. And let me tell you, other than this game, that's probably the game me and my dad played the most together was Contra.
And it's probably the game I had the hardest time on.
Yeah, Contra. Contra's hard.
So much. And I'm not that kind of competitive gamer. What else? Was the original Batman on NES? I think yes, right?
There probably was a Batman game
because I do remember playing Batman.
Okay. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it for sure. I definitely wouldn't doubt it because the original Batman was 89.
Jason,
yep. 1989, the video game.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
Yeah. Now, Jason, before we go on and talk about Super Mario 3, do you have any other further thoughts or childhood memories you want to share before we go ahead and talk about the game?
I mean, honestly, to be honest, it might not look it, but I did grow up playing Atari. I grew up playing NES. Like, these were systems that my parents actually had kept in their house the entire time. I didn't stop playing it. Like, I do remember playing Pong on the old school fucking joystick. And I mean, Super Mario Bros. Is probably one of the best games that they've ever created. And the NES systems, I think gaming in general will be forever grateful to Nintendo and, Mario.
Yeah. It's probably one of the most disappointing things as a gamer is that that Nintendo just isn't what it, was as the originator really of all this stuff. So
yeah. Like, I mean,
let's go on here.
A lot of us wouldn't have these games if it wasn't for NES.
Yeah. No, it's true, man.
All
It's
right,
true.
so let's go on and talk about the game. Your input, like first of all, where are we in the game right now? Do you have any opinions? Anything you see on screen? Go ahead and talk about the game, my Don.
Actually, that's first world. That's world 1. That's so it's a great opening to the story.
The first time they did like side games.
Yes. So that's what I was actually going to talk about too. So this was one of the first games, the first Mario game that had like side missions and felt kind of like a mix between a side scroller and Zelda a little bit. But the reason that this game for me was so great is because Mario 2 Super Mario Bros. 2 introduced worlds. As far as like they had the ice world, they had the sand world, all that stuff. But they weren't. That game just wasn't that good. And this game was like the culmination of 1 and 2 together, and then the addition of all these like where you could get these power ups and you could keep them on your little your little belt there, so you could use them before each world you go into to kind of help you, and you would strategize like, oh, I want to use the P-wing on this world because I can just fly through it real quick, but this world I can use this because I can get through it quicker, doing it this way. So it was Super Mario 3 was really an intense game, especially as a kid, man, playing this game, because it was hard. It was really hard. But I think this is probably still to this day one of my favorite Mario games. I mean, it's top 3, maybe 4 Mario games for me of all time. It's
now really, question for you, Don.
Yeah.
Did you ever finish the game?
Hundreds of times. Yeah.
Oh, okay. See, I love this game. I love Mario. I've never finished one Mario game ever.
I have finished this game. I will say this: I've never finished this game legitimately.
Oh, okay. That's an interesting statement. So you never finish it without anything,
without
bypassing something.
Yep, you get the whistles. Yep, you get 3 whistles, which can get you to the 8th world. It's it's like the warps in the first one. And they had the boats in the second one or whatever. I don't remember exactly what it was. But yeah, it was sort of like that. And yeah, I mean, they took you to this little island where you could get to, I think it was 2, 3, 4 first whistle, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8 were the last whistle. But to get to the whistles, honestly, it wasn't as easy as the first Mario. Like, you really had to work for the whistles in some cases. So they did make it a little bit harder in that sense. But yeah, like this kind of stuff here. If you go into a boss with the firepower, he's done. Like you don't have to jump on him 3 times. You just fireball him 3, 4, 5 times, he's done. So there was some beats, but
I never thought of using the belt. Like I never use the items and never even consider the fact that I can strategize with them. I am curious.
Probably the most cheated game in history.
I am curious, Jason. What's your thoughts? Any experiences on Super Mario 3? You are muted, my friend.
You are muted.
Sorry, good sirs. When they actually introduced like the aspects of like the fireball and the raccoon's tail and all of this shit and culminated it all together in this game was absolutely amazing. I love the fact that they gave us new like almost worlds and different maps every time. Yeah. So you had the different levels, you had the underwater parts, you had the is this the one where they also had the sky ship? Later in the game,
the later bosses are the sky ships. Yeah, that you have to go through the cannons.
So like, I did love all that shit and all that stuff, and like you said, the facts that they just let you cheat the entire time was kind of great because no other game really like rewarded you for doing shit like that.
Right.
But Super Mario was like, no, make this as easy as possible. We want you to keep coming back and playing this as many times as you can.
And that's one of the secrets right there. He actually did. So as long as you're running in P-Wing, even if you don't have the raccoon tail, if you hit the box from P-Wing, it's automatic star every time. That's another cheat in the game that I mean, everybody knew it, but yeah, it's just fun little details that they added into the game. Like Jason was saying that are considered cheats, but they were like, no, this is the game. Like this is what it is.
All right, so Jason, just by curiosity, could you be the devil's advocate and do something controversial? Could you name something or a game that is better than Super Mario 3 on NES, just to tickle Don a bit?
I mean, Legend of Zelda.
I don't even know if I could argue with that. I think Legend of Zelda is probably
I mean, Legend of Zelda is
great
probably that game, and it set up Legends of Zelda Arcane of Time. Like, I mean, you can't. It was just one of the best adventuring games that they had ever had out.
Mhm.
I mean, I couldn't. Don't get me wrong. Super Mario Bros. Is probably, you know, one of the best games, like, replayability wise, but like the gameplay and like the story that they had in Legends of Zelda, just for the game that it was at the time that it came out, was absolutely amazing.
I'll tell you the only difference between this game and Zelda that I feel maybe is a little bit of a contributing factor is this game you could play with friends.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all I would say about that. But other than that, no. Legend of Zelda is a way better game overall, for sure. For sure. But Mario is just such a fun game to play. You know what I mean?
Question about your system earlier about the NES. What was it again?
Yeah, what was the price point compared to the Game Boy? I was actually curious. Like, what was it brand new back then? I feel like it was 200 or more.
Let me see. In the US, it was 179.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yep.
But the units sold only was 61 million.
The original NES total?
Yep.
Wow.
So Game Boy had a better.
Yeah.
I think what it was. I was going to say, I think what it is the portability aspect.
Yeah.
You were able to take that on the road wherever you wanted to go. And
dude, you couldn't take your NES to your grandmother's house. She'd be like, "Why are you plugging that thing into my?"
Literally.
Yeah, and this is the the Game Boy was the ultimate travel companion. I remember camping and going to places. I had 4 hours to do nothing. I'm not gonna do a color game for 4 hours, people. You know. And so let me pull out that Game Boy.
The lifespan for this one was only 85 to 95.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. What was the last game? What was the last game to ever be published on NES?
Oh, that's a really good question. That's a really good question. I'm actually curious what the last game was.
The Lion
Altered Beast. Do you remember? Oh no, Altered Beast was later. That was Sega, I think.
Was the Lion King in 95.
Oh,
that was the last game for NES. Yep. Okay. Wow.
I haven't ever played on the original NES.
That's why
I definitely did.
Hey, you know what, guy? I'm gonna do something before we go on and talk about your choice, my man. I'm gonna go check Lion King on the NES.
I definitely played that for sure, man. For sure.
I don't think I remember playing this.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait. I think I do.
It's
that was on the SNES, no, because
dude,
the graphics were pretty good on it, if I'm not mistaken. Unless it was just a port. That's on NES. Huh.
Yep, because I remember that start for sure.
Yep, licensed by Nintendo, 94.
Those are really good graphics for NES, man. If you really look up, damn.
You ain't lying.
Damn, yes, okay, it was on NES. I remember this version.
I was gonna say, I definitely remember playing this game, dude. This and Aladdin. I played the shit out of those two games, man.
Amen. So, Fastpass, since we're in this game, Jason, did you finish the game? Your opinions on it, and maybe a favorite level?
The Lion King?
Yeah.
Oh no, I definitely didn't finish this one. This was probably I probably was playing this around right before we got a PlayStation 1. So I know for a fact I probably got like 3-4 levels in and was just like, oh, Tomb Raider? Fuck yeah.
Right.
Sorry, Jason. So you mean you did have a PlayStation back in the day and you weren't always faithful to Microsoft, even though it didn't exist before?
Yeah, because how could I play a console that didn't?
Jason,
PS1 and PS2 were better than Xbox. Everything else has been Xbox since.
Yep. My man Don said it right. 1 and 2 you guys got, but 360 and above, I don't know, man.
I can't do it.
Well, I think it's a good segue for the 360. Let's go on ahead and do our final topic of the day. So, my man, go ahead and start talking about your choice while I load it up.
I mean, Xbox 360, yes, it wasn't the very first console I've ever had, but I think it was the very first, like, where I really was like, I'm a gamer. Like, I'm playing these games. I mean, I'm going to midnight releases for games that are coming out. I'm staying up until probably 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning playing zombies, just trying to get the highest level that I can. I mean, the amount of games that I remember playing Simpsons Hit and Run on this shit. Like, I mean,
oh, dude, such a great game. Yeah,
such a great fucking game. I mean, it came out like in 2005. So I was still pretty young, and I remember I didn't get the very first iteration. I mean, I did get the very first iteration, but I didn't get it when it very first came out. And I mean, overall, the 360 was just, you can play with your friends. The user dashboard was probably the best that there has ever been. Like, I still wish companies would go back to the Xbox 360 dashboard and the interface that you could use. It was just so amazing. And then the graphics kicked up so much between Xbox and Xbox 360 and like PlayStation 2 to Xbox 360. Like, I mean, it was just such a great comparison to see. And I mean, I was hooked from the very first time I ever played. And I think the very first 360 game I played was Shrek. It was kind of like a Super Smash or a Mario Party Shrek version. I can't remember let me see what the exact name was. But yeah, I mean, it was just absolutely amazing. And I've loved the console ever since. I see here on the wiki, the units sold were, I mean, still not beating that Game Boy, which it was 84 million as of June 9th, 2014. That's the only one that says. So I guess they stopped making them in 2014. But 84 million units sold. And time of release, it was $300, which was not cheap at all.
No.
What else do I have of this? Anyone else got some experiences from the Xbox 360?
Well, I was going to ask, is one of my big memories, and probably the only memories I have of the 360 was Mass Effect. For me, Mass Effect really brought something interesting. I tried replaying now. It's not as good. I think the nostalgia really, like the first experiences really did help. But I did not know what the hell I was doing. I didn't even realize I can use psionic powers until the middle of the game. Like, I just wanted to shoot stuff.
Mass Effect, I will say, is probably 1 and 2 were by far some of my favorite games. 3
and the other one after.
Andromeda, we're not even going to talk about. I'm not even considering that a game, just like I don't consider Gears of War Judgment a game. We'll discuss that in a second. But yeah, the Mass Effect games were the fact that you could, decide your story was absolutely insane. You could depict the outcome with the interactions you made in that game. You could either save everyone or save no one, depending on if you spoke to certain people or not.
And whoever shows at the end will affect certain storylines. It was really cool. I do realize, though, that with Mass Effect, they did promise a lot. And when it came to the finalization of Mass Effect 3, it didn't deliver as much. It kind of soured a bit for certain experiences for me, especially other games after it came that are way better, like Heavy Rain and Detroit, right? But this still has a special place in my heart because it's the first time that I realized how intricate something, the romance aspect, trying to go after one of the people. If you had if you had a video game crush, me was the blue skin girl. I forgot her name.
Always, always.
Yeah, and I was trying to go after her. So all those little experiences is not something I've ever encountered before. And when I fully appreciated the spectrum of the whole game, it got really fun. Choice making, though, got less and less of an effect as we go on.
And before I get into the game that I'm going to talk to, I just want to say that nothing had prepared me more for life than the trash talking that happened in every single one of those Xbox 360 lobbies.
Okay, yes, now we're talking.
That has never prepared me more for life than being called a fucking pleb at 12 years old because I'm trying to fucking play a game. I mean, God.
Be careful language. All right.
Pleb
All
is,
right, so
pleb is a thing in a heart, you know?
I know that is not what I'm talking about.
Anyway,
So Don, what's your
yeah.
experience with 360?
I'll be honest. Most of my experience with 360 is Gears of War, Madden, and Tiger Woods golf. I would play Tiger Woods golf, and I could get like a 28 under on one round of golf. I was so good at that game. And Madden, obviously, like just because I'm a huge football fan, everybody played Madden back then. Being able to play online and talk shit to people and be able to be like, you suck, was another serious game changer, and because PS4 or PS2, I'm sorry, you could go online, but 360 you could talk to people online. That was like nothing before.
That was where it really developed the biggest shit talking community I've ever seen.
And let me tell you, this game we're going to talk about, the game where you're going to talk about, Gears, is one of the most toxic but fun freaking communities to be a part of, because everybody talks shit. It doesn't matter how old they are.
Let's get right into this one, because Gears of War is the funnest game I've ever played. Still to this day, I go back and play Gears of War 1. Like the severity and the depth between all of these characters. I mean, it's just so amazing. It follows Delta Squad, which Delta Squad is led by Marcus Phoenix, who at the beginning of this game, they are rescuing him from jail because his skills are what is needed to stop the Locust. I think they need to save Jacinto in this moment, or save Alpha Squad, I believe it was. He has to go in to get and save Alpha Squad. And I mean, him, Dominic Santiago, they start off, and then you get Baird and Cole. And Coltrane runs on whole grain, baby. I mean, they were such great characters, just the dynamics between them. So, just to start off, Marcus and Dom, best friends. They are diehard brothers. Baird does not get along with Marcus at first, which is a great dynamic. I honestly think them butting heads was a great little aspect to actually then turn Baird on Marcus's side, and at the end they were all like this one unit. And then Augustus Cole was the fucking comedic relief of this game, and he was the best goddamn comedic relief there ever was. I mean, the amount of
Coltrane, baby.
Coltrane runs a whole grain, baby. I mean, the amount of time spent on a legendary version, like the legendary difficulty of this game, is insane, because every game I had to beat it on the hardest difficulty, and holy shit, was it fucking difficult.
I do have a question for you, Padawan. What is the most successful Gears of War? Was it second, first, third? Like, which one banked the most money?
I mean, made the most money. I don't know. I can look up made the most money, but I know majority in the community, Gears 2 is recognized as the best one.
I agree.
So this made an impact enough to have one put a lot more money in the second one, and the second one delivered. I
like Gears of War. Don made a good point, and I really agree on one of the conversations we had. I think Gears of War should have been the staple of Xbox 360 more so than Halo should have ever been.
So what happened? Why did it die off then? Because now you don't hear anything Gears of War.
Gears of War, it's not that you don't hear it. They've made some bad decisions in the story, and they've really... So, like I said, Judgment is probably their biggest flop to date. Judgment was supposed to be a prequel to Gears 1, I think 5 years before the first one, and it was supposed to be telling the tale of the Locust and kind of where the Lambent also started, but they just created a giant plot hole because there were games and enemies that were never in the first one, and it was just a really big... I think the true diehard Gears fans all noticed those things, and then the gameplay was kind of trash.
Well, the story should have been... Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I had a question for you, Don, and then
Okay.
you can go ahead. And sorry about that. Between making another good video game or making it finally a series or movies, which one would you prefer? Having a redemption to the last one, or seeing it live action? Which one would you choose?
Wow. I mean, that's a tough question because Batista is like campaigning to be Marcus at this point, and
that would be a great cast.
Yeah,
I really want that, but I mean, to be able to play a Gears game would be so much more worth it for me than a series. But man, that's tough. I think I'd take the game over the series if I had a legitimate choice. Yeah.
Okay. And what about you, Jason?
What you mean? Hold on one second. My buddy might want to have a quick little snippet to add to Gears of War. Any thoughts on Gears of War in general?
In general, honestly, one of the best series I've ever played.
You're not. You know what? You're not escaping it that easy. We want to see your face, sir, not just a torso.
No.
Come on in.
Oh shit!
All right,
there he is.
Honestly, one of the best series I've ever played.
Why?
The Curb Stomp. Honestly, first coming out 2009. That was like my favorite thing to do.
2006, sir.
This came out in 2000. That's even better because, like, to me, this game was so before its time. Like, nobody was doing the crap that Gears of War was doing. Chainsawing, like,
frag.
That
was an impact.
Body would just drop when you headshot them. Like, that was the scariest headshot ever.
Just running after people, and
you can't stop them. Like, it's over. Like,
it's brutal.
Yeah,
now I have a question. The same question I gave to Don. Since you're a special guesting, might as well ask you if you have 2 seconds. Would you prefer having a redemption to the last Gears of War game, or would you see it as a live action movie? If you had to choose only one, which one would it be, my man?
All right. So you're asking if I'd want them to remake a game, or
no, redeem the series, like redeem in the next game, make a redeeming game, or would you rather them have an excellent movie
or show?
Or show?
Honestly, I just feel like if they try to make it a show, it wouldn't be exactly what I would expect from nowadays.
Do you know who they want to play Marcus though?
No, who would they?
Batista.
See, but that could go either way. Like, I love Batista as Marcus. Yes, he fits the character well, but will his acting fit the character well?
He improved a lot.
Watch Glass Onion. Watch Glass Onion and tell me he can't act.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I'll have to get back to you on that because I don't know Batista all that well, but I would love to see a redemption game because they've taken this series of video games far from its roots. And
so far.
It's it's a shame. I love the game still. Like, I've played all of them up to Gears 5, and it's just a shame because I've given up on the series, to be honest.
And that's the problem too, is like, I know he's probably just like me. Like, they're working on 6 and I'm just not as excited for it. I mean,
right.
I want to see like maybe how they fucking do the story, but other than that, like, I'm just like, it's gonna be trash.
Yeah, like,
so I'm wondering if you guys agree with me. Then, do you think that the only redeeming qualities from right now, the only thing keeping us like as fans, is the multiplayer, right?
Yeah,
like the stories just haven't kept anybody engaged and in the game.
Also, my problem
that
is
and customization.
Yeah,
sure. Though the multiplayer kind of tanked a little bit. Like,
even 4.
Like,
but it's still fun to just play Gears. That's all I mean.
And if you're playing Gears with the homies, even better, dude.
Right.
And Gears has always been a game to where, like, I'm not
playing by myself.
I'm not saying. Well, no, I've played so much Gears by myself. I'm not saying someone should go out and just get hammered and play Gears, but I love playing Gears inebriated. It's awesome.
God, yes.
Like, it's the funniest thing.
If you guys permit me, and back to on my question, I would actually prefer a TV series because I never really played the games that much, but the story looks interesting. Yes. I want to understand the lore. Give me the lore. So this is why I would choose TV or movie, because I'm not nitpicky right now when it comes to
your
games.
Lore man right here.
Yeah, dude. Like, if they were to make a series, I wouldn't want them to start at Gears 1.
No.
I'd want them to start well before that. Like, because there's just so much to it, like comic-wise, and like,
you need to start where, if you were to make a series, in my opinion, and I'm sure he agrees, you need to start with what the work Marcus Phoenix's dad was doing way before anything actually popped off. You need to get the backstory between him and Mira and figure out, not even figure out, because we know where it is, but we need to, it needs to be more well known what their interaction is
and why she is the way she is.
Yes.
See, they give you a little bit of it in the series of the video games, but they give you enough to like open your mind to it, but it leaves so many questions. So if they were, like I said, if they were to make a show, they got to go well on before the first game. Let us know what the scientists of the COG are doing, what Mira, who is a human being, has to do with controlling the Locust, because I mean, how did she become the Locust Queen? Like,
there's so many
different theories. They say it in books. You just man.
All right, thank you very much for doing a short guest appearance. We know who to invite if ever we're doing an in-depth talk or the next reaction to the next trailer for Gears of War.
I'm gonna get him on the Gaming and Multiverse to do a deep dive on this. Don't you worry.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'd be down for that. All right, so again, this is our show. I hope you enjoyed the show. Us talking about consoles, our favorite video games on those consoles. And again, if you're watching and you're not subscribed, what you're doing, press that subscribe button. You know, just join the multiverse. Enjoy the geekiness we bring. And if you are subscribed, but you haven't liked this video yet, hey, what you doing too? Press like. And you have anything you want us to react, either trailers like video games, TV, and movies, let us know in the comments, and we will talk about it. Same thing for topics for Geeking Out. All right, till next time, thank you very much, Mr. Don, my Mr. Wikipedia himself. Thank you. Till next time.
Bye, guys.
Oh man.